I know a lot of people like get very upset when people refer to OCD as this personality quirk of theirs or this perfectionism that isn't really like going on to a disorder, but it's just relatively normal. Um, like I get that, and I do find that frustrating myself. But I think in general, like as a society, we've collectively just like understood that that's shitty to say because OCD is really really rough, but it's greatly misunderstood. And in fact, I think a lot of people might see OCD as like one of the few disorders that aren't as bad as other ones, right? But it's greatly misunderstood even by people who actually have OCD. And for me, it's like the concept of like having to close a door all the time, or the concept of having to wash your hands all the time, or being very afraid of germs, or that's the common one, contamination. But that's like one of many many different things. I don't have contamination OCD. I don't care about that, right? um but for me, it's like I neglect my needs for my obsessions, these obsessions that actively make me miserable, right? Like, let's say you don't trust yourself and you're closing a door, right? um it sounds a little bit silly to be like, oh, or it may sound a little bit silly for someone to struggle to like close the door and have that thing in their brain that says you close the door, right? Now imagine that every day you get stuck in a 3-hour loop of closing a fucking door, right? It's hell. It is torture. It's one of the worst things like a person can experience. Well, I don't want to say it's one of the worst things a person can experience, but it's horrible when it's your everyday life to the point where you are so actively afraid to do everyday tasks. For me, I mean, it's incredible that I'm trying to do this all in one go because gosh, anytime I record videos like these, I do 80, 90, 100 takes, and I'm not exaggerating. When I record music, my guitar parts take about 900 takes, my vocal parts take like 1,000 takes. And like, I'm hurting myself doing these things, right? I don't mean just mentally, but physically too. I avoid sleep because of this. Like, it's horrible, and it feels like it takes over your life. But then simultaneously, you feel selfish for doing it because a lot of the times when you're in these obsessive loops and then someone interrupts that loop, you get very frustrated. You get very angry. At least I do, right? But you know it's irrational, and you know you're hurting yourself doing so, right? And you know that that person stopping you is in a way helping you, but you know when you kind of get out of those loops that you needed that help. When you're in them, man, you don't want anyone to stop you. I spend like 4 hours, 5 hours every day obsessing over things, sweating like crazy, shaking, anxious, like just like on my phone doing something or rereading something a billion times. I don't think releasing Wash It All Away was quite an emotional roller coaster for me, right? Because I had to do a lot of stuff when the song released and when the music video was coming out and stuff like that, right? I had to update descriptions, I had to update my social medias, I had to do just a lot of things that you don't need to know, merch stuff, whatever, right? But a lot of it contained writing, just writing, and I don't trust anything that I write. I think like I don't trust my ability to spell things correctly, or I don't trust my ability to um say things with proper grammar. If that is proper grammar, because I'm down on myself now, but whatever. Was it? Oh, am I embarrassing myself? Whatever. And I talked about this before, but I ended up deleting the video. I felt a lot of shame because I've used ChatGPT as like this checker to like help me. But it doesn't help you. It just makes things worse. Because one, ChatGPT doesn't just go like, yeah, you wrote that correctly and the grammar's fine. It's always going to criticize it. It's always going to tell you you could do it better. Even if ChatGPT wrote you something, you copy and paste what it wrote you, you give it back to it, and then says, oh, it could be better. Actually, do this instead. And it creates a very, very harmful thought loop for someone with OCD. But yeah, for me, it felt like like 80% of the preparation with Wash All Away was me obsessing over things to a very visceral degree. Like it really, really, really hurt me. And this is like the main problem I have with myself right now and my life in general. You know, the idea of an audience paying attention to me is one of the most scary things for me. And so it has made my obsessive thoughts and my compulsion so much worse, right? One of the things that I've been obsessing over an extreme amount is and this may sound silly, but to me, it feels very real. I had someone laugh at me a couple people laugh at me when I said this, but whatever. Um, I can't go on Instagram without freaking out pretty much immediately because I always convince myself that I may have accidentally liked something that was like super bad. Like unintentionally. Like I just like my finger slipped and I didn't notice. I continue to believe that I do that, right? Um, I believe that I may have followed someone controversial by accident. I mean, hell, if I find so like, and I mean, like my finger slipped again, but say I actually find someone's content that I do actually like, right? I most likely, like, as much as I want to follow them, I will do heavy research on them to make sure that like I will not be in trouble for following this person. It gets really, really, really intense. I will obsessively check my like so if you go on Instagram, you can go to your activity and likes. I obsessively check my likes probably like hundreds of times a day, like all the posts that I've liked, are reels that I've liked. And this even goes to YouTube, even though no one can see my likes. And that's why it's so insane. It goes to YouTube, then it goes to TikTok. No one can see my likes on TikTok. It goes to X. I don't really use Twitter, but because of all the horrible stuff that's on there, anytime I open the app, I get scared that I accidentally liked one of Elon Musk's tweets. But it's real to me. I'm obsessively checking my followers list on everything, and I'm obsessively checking my likes on every social media platform. Even now, I don't use what Threads. I don't use Threads. I just had the compulsion to go and check that everything is good on Threads, that I didn't accidentally post something completely unrelated or accidentally follow someone bad. Like uh, it's pretty strong right now. um, but yeah, it's this fear of being successful and then people seeing like blaming me for things that were unintentional, right? I constantly um clear my search history because I'm so scared that people are going to judge me because I search up such basic things because I don't trust myself. I don't trust the very words that come out of my mouth. I don't trust the very things that I type. I don't know how to turn my brain off and trust myself. I always think I'm an idiot. I always think I'll never do anything right. I cannot like it's horrible when like you are expected to respond to people all the time and talk to people all the time through writing, and every time you do so it takes 45 minutes of your time, maybe an hour of your time, and for them it takes like 10 seconds. OCD is not this quirky disorder. OCD isn't even this manageable disorder. I mean, it is for a lot of people, but OCD, when severe, is truly life ruining, and it can destroy you in just like any other kind of mental disorder. In fact, even more than a lot of them. Not comparing them, obviously. I mean, I'm obviously going to speak of the thing that I suffer with more, but you know, I don't know. It's horrible.